looked at Chancery, and that's pretty much all we're going to look at in this session. One of the most important things about pugilism is that the whole system is designed around a system of striking without gloves, which means that you've got to be a lot more accurate in the way you strike, otherwise you're going to damage your hands. And there are a few ways you can go about that, and most of the sessions up to press have looked at ways of being more accurate, ways of using the human anatomy in order to maximise the chances of not damaging your hands. But there's a much, much easier way of being accurate when you're trying to hit something, and that's to hold it really still. And that's effectively what we're going to look at today. So if I'm just going to punch, then I'm going to punch in a certain way. I'm going to use a straight punch, I'm going to use a vertical fist, I'm going to try and contact with the right knuckles, and I'm going to try and contact on a very specific part of my opponent. Yeah? We've done that a lot, but he's going to want to move out of the way. His instinct is not to get punched in the face. So what I want to do to make it easier for me is to hold his face still. And as Kirk mentioned briefly before, Chancery, I like etymology, looking at how words are derived, where they come from. And there's one of the theories is exactly as Kirk said, this idea that somebody else is in possession of something and you're not allowed it, and that's a form of Chancery. But also there was a Chancery court at that particular time, and it was one of the most corrupt courts in Britain. And once you were up in Chancery Court, the likelihood of you getting out was incredibly slim. So whether it was still, we don't know. But what we know is that Chancery refers to one of a number of ways of securing somebody's head, or indeed arm. That's not what I've come across. I want the reference for that.
I'll find it.
Yeah, find it. I'd love to see it. But we're going to look at the head. One of the other things that Kirk mentioned that's going to be quite important is that classical pugilism is not a system. It's an awful lot of individual systems that share a lot of characteristics. And all of these individual writers use their own terminology and definitions. So what somebody calls a standing chancery, somebody else calls a front chancery, somebody calls a side chancery or a reverse chancery. And there's no standard terminology. So I've adopted three that I think make sense. We're going to look at a standing chancery, a side chancery, and a reverse chancery. We're going to focus predominantly on the standing chancery, because from that you can flow into the others. But before we do that, we're going to get going. So how many people have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beautiful. I'd like you to get into threes, please. And come over onto the mats. So, what we're going to do is get moving, get used to getting down and getting back up again. And it's a really, really simple drill. So you can stand there. Jerry, you can stand here.
Yeah.
And what I want you to do is just lie on the floor.
Oh, joy.
Okay? Right, so, other way around.
And pick a Christmas.
Right. And what's going to happen is you're going to roll this way. And as he comes towards you, you're going to jump over the top, land on your shoulder, and roll towards Jerry. Sure. Okay? Beautiful. Keep rolling, keep rolling. Jerry's going to jump over the top of you. Before he stay down, and roll. And then you jump over the top. Right, go.
That's not something I do.
Okay. Oh, there we go. I don't care how you do it. If you want to just jump over and then go down and roll, that's fine. All right. It doesn't matter. It's just about getting moving. If you're happy to land on your shoulder and roll that way and keep rolling, fine. So, hang on a second, guys. Time is vitally important. So we should have enough space that we can get 3 lots going at once.
Oh, wow.
If you're feeling particularly tough, you can go on the carpet. It's up to you. But, come on. Get in your groups, get rolling, get moving, as fast as you can, get your heart rate up.